I want you to say yes after every puzzle chess. Hello everyone, KosakChess here. Today I would like to show you what to do to be absolutely perfectly sure that you will solve every single task at an easy level. I am going to pay attention to all the essential elements of the position that the best players capture schematically in a second, as well as the basic tactical motifs that you must know to solve each chess problem. Tactics are an integral part of chess, thanks to a really big number of solved combinations and practicing calculating variations. I have become a chess player who can foresee the consequences of my decisions several moves ahead. And I have a feeling that you would like to be able to do that too. Shall we check it out? Yeah? I hope so. Let's do it. I just want to say that all the puzzles that will appear here, I will see for the first time. These are not tasks prepared by me in advance. I haven't learned them, and I don't know what to expect. They are taken from the survival mode on the chess.com website, and my goal is to describe what I see and share that knowledge with you. So, if everything is clear, let's move on to the first puzzle. And maybe I will tell you the most important information which you can see. On the very top, just above my photo, you can see which side is to move. In this example, this is black. And okay, maybe the first puzzles would be really easy, but anyway, I want to go through all the details that came to my mind, and I hope that it will help you to do these chess puzzles better in the future. And the first thing in general I am trying to do in some sort of these tasks is to find my strongest piece. In this example, this is of course this rook, and I am looking for the checks at the first moment. What kind of checks can the strongest piece can do? And we can see that the strongest chess piece, so this is the rook, can only give one check, and this is taking the rook on h1. And we can see also this is additionally the checkmate. Why is this checkmate? This is I think the most basic motif, the most basic checkmate motif you can see, a back rank mate. A back rank mate is the situation when the white king is surrounded by the pawns, and after the check, it can't move forward. Okay, you know, as you probably know, two pieces can't stand on one square, so after rook takes h1, it just should be a checkmate. So it was an easy task because we don't have much possibilities over there, so just play it and solve it. Again, we are trying to find our strongest piece. This is the rook. And again, we can see that this rook can only give one check, and again, it can give a check on the... this is the only check possible for white. Rook c8. What happens if king moves to f7? It is impossible thanks to our knight who covers this square. So as you can see, every possible square for kings are these f8, h8 and f7, and after playing rook c8, these two squares are gonna be protected by the rook, and this one is going to be protected by the knight. So after rook c8, again, we are having a checkmate. Yes, these first tasks are really simple. Again, but now we need to watch out. We have two strongest pieces on the board, but only one can give a check. This is this rook, and the only check, as this is again a back rank mate. Rook takes d1. We can't give a check by this rook, so we are not even going to calculate moves made by this rook, so just take the rook and be happy. Okay, a little bit complicated situation, but still it shouldn't be hard. Now, the strongest piece in our in our set, this is the queen. Yes. And now, because of the fact that queen is a little bit stronger than the rook, it has a little bit more possibilities than the rook. We can give a check to h2. Of course, the queen is really close to the king, but king can easily capture the queen and nothing happens. But again, if you see the king, which is surrounded by the pawns and can't really make a move forward, it is most probably everything going about this back rank mate. We have the battery. Battery, this is a mix of a queen and the rook, or rook and the queen, in general the mix of the heavy pieces, which are standing in one line. They can go by the straight lines or they can go, I don't know how to say it, vertically. I have no idea, but in general they are lines like this and lines like this, and battery only goes through the straight lines. We will also talk, maybe such a task will appear later, that we are going to talk about the battery which moves diagonally, but this is with the help of the bishop, not the rook. Okay, but coming back to this task, we can make a use of the battery. Look, that these two pieces are attacking the d1 square, queen, and the rook. And we have only one defender of this square, which is the queen. So by easy math, we can calculate that 2 is more than 1. So we are really happy to make this, not even the exchange, but we can just grab the free rook. Queen takes d1, queen takes d1, we will take the queen. But would it be a checkmate? Not really, because because white can cover for only one move, but anyway they can cover, and we are going to take the rook with a checkmate, since the pawns are still blockading the white king. So take the queen, take the rook, and give a checkmate. What is wrong with these tasks? Fifth puzzle in a row, and fifth time a back rank mate, but okay. We have a rook, this is the strongest piece, we are looking for checks. Rook e8 is the only check in the position, so just give the check and give a checkmate. Okay, now we have three pieces, rook, rook and queen. The queen of course is the strongest piece, but queen can barely move. As you can see, this is another tactical motif, will maybe appear in the future. This we call a pin. A pin is a situation when the pinned piece can't really move because of several reasons. Now the reason of this pinned queen is the fact that the rook also, let's say, attacks the king. It doesn't attack it directly because the queen covers the line, but the queen can move out of the 8th line. You know, they can't play any move like this. The queen can't move like this because the rook now will attack the king, and of course this is impossible in chess to allow for such things. So the queen is the strongest piece, but it can barely move. So again, we are not going to consider moves made by queen. We have the rook, but the rook is so passive that it can only make one move, and this one move doesn't change completely nothing. But again, we see the rook. This is the most active piece in our piece in our camp. But the white king isn't that surrounded by the pawns. Let's have a look. It has a g2 square free. Well, not really, because we have the f3 pawn which covers the g2 square. So we can also count for a back rank mate right now, even though this pawn doesn't stand on g2. It doesn't really matter because this pawn is standing here, so we are taking off the g2 square. So that's why we can make a use of this rook. Probably you know how. Just give a check. Rook b1 check. Okay. Take the rook, and give a checkmate. Wow. Guys, probably you know everything. We are looking for the strongest piece. We are looking for the checks. The only check in the position. Just give a check. It's over. Sometimes you are maybe surprised or even maybe shocked. Wow, how, I don't know, Hikaru is solving these puzzles so quickly. Like, I see a lot of comments under his. Of course, he's amazing. He's a genius. He solves in that quick time puzzles with number 40, 40 or 50 or 60 or 70. He's a really speed chess monster. But these first tasks, you know, they are not complicated. When you see the back rank mate for the millionth time, of your life, it isn't a problem at all to just give a check. Again, okay, but let's come back to the position. We have queen as a strongest piece, and we also see the scheme. The scheme is a battery. The queen and a rook are standing on one line, and remember, we call it a battery. How can we make a use of that battery? We need to look for such a typical, even schematical mix of pieces. I would put it in that words, in order to look for a tactics. And we can see that this queen can give several checks. For example, it can give a check to f2. It can give a check to f1. As you can see, the first puzzles are about to give a checkmate. When we move further, we will probably see that the checkmate would be impossible in most of the puzzles, and we would be going to fight for the material advantage. But maybe we will go to that puzzles a little bit later. Let's consider the first check, the check which is a little bit higher than the check on f2. So after queen f1, if we play queen f1 check, of course the king can't take it because of the rook. But after queen f1, we see the rook which covers the f1 square. So we lose the queen, we lose the game. It is totally unnecessary. But if we consider the check on f2, we see that rook still protects the queen, and the only possible squares that the king can move is f1, f2, e2, and d2. If we put the queen on f2, we will see that the queen from that square covers itself because of the rook, covers the f1 square because it attacks it, covers the e2 square because it attacks it, and covers the d2 square because it attacks it. So after queen f2, there is just a checkmate in one move. It's all. Wow, look how many pieces now do we have on the board. So many pieces. But again, we look for the strongest piece. The strongest piece is the queen, and we look for the check we can give. We are really happy that black played h6. Probably, maybe you know why. Now we are going to make a use of our queen. We see checks: queen b5, queen g6. But as you can see, the first check is stupid. We lose the queen, we lose the game. So let's consider this second check, queen g6. Now, black has two options. So this is the first time we are going to calculate maybe not complicated variations, but anyway the variations. After queen g6, black king can move to f8 or to e7. The d7 square is covered by the knight. This is also our active piece, and you also need to take such active pieces into account. If you consider these pieces as the strong ones, you can make a use of them and create, like in this example, a mating net, a mating attack. The knight is really active because it takes already two of the squares that the king is possible to move. Yeah, we see 4 squares, but 50% of these squares are already taken by the knight. So we just need to somehow put the king in a danger. If we move the queen on g6 and the king goes to e7, wow, I can play queen f7 checkmate. Because I told you, the knight is standing there and it covers the f7 square. So we use this knight not only as an attacker, but mainly as a defender of our queen. And the same things happens if the king moves to f8, because after king f8 we still play queen f7 and the king can really move. Let's have a look. Queen g6, king f8. Now the king can move from this side to the 4 squares, but if we move the queen to f7, we will take this square, this square, this square, and this square. So we control every single square. The same things happens after queen g6, king e7. The king can move to 4 squares, but after queen f7, we take all of these squares. So we give a checkmate. Queen g6. Ah, okay. The game finished. Again, strongest piece, the queen. We are looking for the checks. The only possible check is queen h5. And now we are also going to use our attacker as a defender of our queen. This is the bishop, so the second most active piece in the white's camp. The bishop attacks the f7 square, so it attacks the one of the 2 squares the black's king is possible to move. So if we put the queen on f7, this is also a scheme I really like to use. I am using these squares that are protected by one of the most active pieces, and I am trying to put the strongest piece on one of these squares, so it can make a really a lot of danger. A lot of danger can cause it. So let's just give a check. Queen h5. Okay, g6. Can I take the pawn? Well, the bishop can't protect it, the knight can't protect it, and the rook can't protect it since these pieces doesn't go that way. So just take the pawn. And after king e7, we would give a checkmate to f7. Okay, queen e4. This is the strongest piece in our position. But the thing is, no, what is the thing? No, this is okay. Everything is okay. Let's first have a look on checks. Well, rook g3. This is possible checkmate. This is possible check. Sorry, this is possible check. Okay, but I will try to make a move. What's wrong with this move? What, I can't play rook g3? Ah, because now we are going to also have a look for what the opponent is threatening to us. The last move, queen e4, caused a check. This is also what we need to do in our games. We are not only looking for what we can do to the opponent's position, but also, or even as the first priority, we need to check what the opponent wants to do against us. If we do some good prophylaxis, we can for sure improve the level of our play. So now we can see the king is in a check. So this is the first problem we need to see it. Can we get rid of the piece which is checking our king? Yes, we can. We can just take this queen. And what can happen next? The most logical move for white is to make a use of the battery they have. Yes, we see the battery, we know the motif. So the rook can take back the queen. But if the rook takes back the queen, we can see that the last rank lost the one and only defender. And we can maybe make a use of it. Do you know why? If you know why, write in the comment section. I will give you the maybe 5-10 seconds to pause the video if you need it. And if you solved it, congratulations. I will just take the queen and play rook d1. So you can see the pieces are moving in a straight lines. So this is rook, this is queen. They can give a back rank checkmate. Rook takes c1. Of course, the g2 square is not free for the king because of the bishop covering the g2 square. So rook e1 checkmate. Okay, the strongest piece, the queen. We are looking for a checks. Queen a4 and queen e2 and queen f3 and queen e1. Oh, wow, so many checks to consider, but 2 of them are already a losing mistakes. Because, okay, let's consider maybe the first check. So let's consider queen f3. If we play queen f3, we can resign. We can just resign because white can take the queen by 2 ways. So if we lose a queen, we lost our only piece which is in the position, so we are lost. Yeah, so We discard the option queen f3, and let's maybe discard these arrows. Let's now consider maybe queen e1 move. But this is even worse because even 3 pieces can take this queen. So again, this is stupid. And that's why this is how we can improve the calculation of our variations. We can see that we can give a lot of checks, but if we consider some moves as a really stupid ones, look how the number of possibilities decreased. We had 4 moves, and after 5 seconds, we just realized that we have only 2 sensible moves. Yeah, so 50% of the possible moves we want to consider are already gone. We are not going to look at it anymore. Yeah, so this is even some optimization of our time. Okay, so let's maybe consider this check, queen a4 check. It looks really fine because if we play king c1, we can use our attacker as a defender. This is also, maybe it is not an active piece since the pawn isn't a piece at all. But after king c1, queen c2 is a checkmate, yes? We cover all these squares the king can move, and the pawn is protecting our queen. So it's a really good sign for us. So can we go for it? Well, some of you, I hope not, but a lot of chess players are making this mistake that, okay, in one variation I see a checkmate, okay, so I go for it. And they are not even considering another possible lines for the opponent. After queen a4, I can escape now in a very different way, king e1. And what is the check? We can come back to e4, but then the king, okay, we can repeat the position. The king can go to d1 and we have the same position as we see right now. But the king can escape to f2, then king can escape to g1, maybe even to h1. As we can see, of course, the king is maybe now can be surrounded by the pawns. But we can't really count for the back rank mate because of the fact that white has this rook, white has this rook. They're all protecting the first rank, so the king is escaping. We don't really like this. So the only possible check for us is to play queen e2. King c1 is the only possible move to make. Let's maybe take the free rook, because why not? Bishop e1, the only possible move for white, and queen takes e1, the checkmate. Queen e2, queen f1, queen e1. So we can even solve the problems by the process of elimination. You know, we discarded 3 options. 2 of them looked stupid, 1 of them looked promising, but after calculating a short variation, we just realized that we couldn't do anything there. Okay, the first position we are not going to give a checkmate. At least I think so. We are looking for the strongest piece. This is a queen. The only possible check made by queen, of course, is queen c8. We can also give a check by the rook, playing rook e8, but we lose a rook, so it doesn't make any sense. So after queen c8, now we have to think for the best possible answer for black. The best possible answer, of course, is to cover the king by playing queen f8. And the checks are gone. Okay, we can exchange queens, but most probably we want to use our best piece, not to exchange for the best piece for the opponent, but to make some threats, to get some material, or to give checkmate, as we could see in the previous exercises. Queen c8, queen f8. Do you remember the battery? Yes, the battery is the mix of the queen and the rook. So what we can do to put them in one line and to attack one square in by a stronger force. Queen c8, queen f8, rook e8, and now we can see that both of our pieces are putting pressure on the f8 square. And they are not only putting the pressure on the f8 square, but we're also attacking the queen, which is standing there. So, if we attack it with the rook, the queen is gone. Look at this. If the rook and the queen were standing in a different order, the queen could just take the queen. I mean, after queen c8, queen f8, rook e8. If now we switch the places, queen with a rook, it wouldn't be that much pressure, since the biggest pressure we can make is by attacking the square by the weakest piece. The weakest piece in our line, of course, is the rook. So if we put the rook on the first fire, it would make the biggest pressure. So let's play queen c8, queen f8 as we expected, and after rook e8, we are going to take a material. Okay, rook e1 check. This is also. It might be scary, but if we escape to h2, nothing happened, and we solved it. Okay, but you might be surprised. You didn't give a checkmate. Why the exercise is solved? It is because of the fact that we won so much material that we sometimes assess such positions as a winning, because if you get enough material to win a game, for example, in the previous task, I don't know if I can. Oh yes, I can even, and you probably should see it. Yes, black played queen f7. Yes, so after queen c8 and rook e8 and king h2, we see that in the next move we are taking the queen. Black can even protect the queen by playing rook f1, but after rook f8, okay, who cares? We just won the queen, and queen against the rook. It should be an easy endgame to convert. Even when both sides are playing the most accurate moves, the side with the queen should easily win. And this is in general how the most exercises are working. We are hoping to get a material advantage. If we have a material advantage, probably you should know the scheme by counting the quality of pieces. The pawn is worth 1 point, the bishop and knight 3 points, rook 5 points, and queen 9 points. The king is the king has infinite quality. It doesn't have a specific number. So the queen is 9, the rook is 5, the 9 is bigger than 5. Wow, KosakChess learns mathematics. Yeah. Queen d7, strongest piece. Give a check. Use the pawn. Queen d7. Ooh, king e8. Okay, the strongest piece and the battery. This is already, we should know the motif, yeah? The queen, the rook, the battery. So just maybe give a check. Queen d7. Let's move the king. And now let's make a use of the battery. Now the king is again surrounded by its pawns and pieces. The G7 bishop is also disturbing a little bit. So how can we make a use of the battery using our strongest piece? Maybe back rank mate? No way. No way. Strongest piece, battery. Guys, you know it. You see, it's not hard. You just need to look for the specific mix of the pieces, and if you find them, this is the battery is the basic, is the most basic motif. If you find the strongest piece, of course we need to calculate checks. Checkmate in 1, guys. The knight is defending the square. Come on, not queen h1. Consider another check. Queen h2, but the king escapes. Okay, and we didn't give a checkmate. Aha, but now the king doesn't defend the h1 square. And king standing on f1 is surrounded. It can't move forward. What could be the solution? Back rank mate? No way. Oh, I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that motif. Now we are going to meet another very important but also really basic motif, but it can be really annoying if we blunder it. This is the motif we call the fork. The fork is the in my definition, because I know a lot of different definitions, but I just disagree with them. The fork is the attack which is made by pawn or a knight only by these two pieces. You can see, you can know a lot of definitions that fork can be made by any of the piece, but I just disagree with it. In my opinion, the fork is only possible to be made by the pieces which are low ranged, let's say. So the range of the pawn is only these two squares, and the range of the knight is also the let's say the low range. The most typical piece, or the most typical piece which is doing a fork, it is a knight. Okay, but let's have a look. The strongest piece, this is our queen, right? Can it give a check? Well, not really. I can barely even make a move with this queen. So the queen can't really the queen can't really give a check. We are looking for the another strongest piece. These are the rooks, but the rooks are only have if we sum it up the 3 possible squares for them. So we also can't really make a use of them. The knight is really centralized there. Yeah, if we can't make a use of the strongest piece, make a use of the most active piece. This is the most active piece because it is located on the highest line of the chessboard. Like we can see the first line, the second line, third line, fourth line, and fifth line, and we have only one piece which crossed the half of the board. This is our knight. So this is definitely, even from the mathematical side, this is the highest located piece. So it is also the most active, and also the knight is in the center. Okay, but I have mentioned this fork motif. How can we make a fork? The fork is usually, like, the basic fork is when the knight gives a check. When the knight gives a check, and additionally it attacks a different piece. And so after the check, the king has to escape, because we can't cover from the knight check. The king escapes, and the knight takes the attacked piece. Now we can visualize a little bit where the knight can make a fork. Let's have a look where where this knight can give a check. We see that this square is protected 3 times. So the chances that the check will happen there are close to zero. The c7 square is also protected but only once, and only protected by queen. As we know, the queen is the worst defender. The stronger the piece is, the worse defender it is. Okay, so this is a good rule to remember. What would be the best position for us to make the biggest effect of this fork? These are the squares. These are the squares where from which the c7 knight will attack something. Okay, from the c7 square we can attack the king, which is really important because we give a check, and we can attack the rook, which stands on a8, something which stands on a6, something which stands on b5, and something which stands on e6. Of course, in general, the fork where we take the free rook is also really good for us. But the first thing is not that we need to somehow get rid of this defender. So let's maybe play bishop takes b5. What is the reason? We pin the queen, so the queen can't move in a lot of ways. It is probably made to take the bishop on b5. No. And when queen is on b5, I can give a check and make a fork because the knight will attack the queen. This was a beautiful example of a fork. And what is wrong? What is wrong with this task? Like, I believe that the previous one was... It was easy, okay, because level of these tasks are easy. So, now, as I said, the previous task was much harder than this, since now we can also give a back rank mate. The king is surrounded, and the e7 square is also covered because of the rook. Yeah. So how to give a back rank mate if we have a defender of the 8 file? Just get rid of this defender. Take it. Wow, it was hard. Strongest piece, active piece, active piece, active piece. All of the pieces are active. But now, I think we can create some mating threads. I drew these arrows for one reason, just to show you the potential of our pieces. Look, our potential is really close. It's really close to the black king. You know, this piece is even looking at the king. This piece is also even looking at the king. The knight is in the center, so it can give a possible check for the king, and we have an active piece which also attacks in a lot of different ways, but it also has a potential to give some unpleasant check for black. So, what to do? Well, we need to look for the most active piece, which is queen. But the queen can't really give a check, so we are going to maybe to skip it. The second strongest piece is the rook. The rook, of course, can give a check, but after rook takes g7, which is the only check which is possible to, the only possible check which this piece can make. After king g7, we just lost the rook. Now the bishop. The bishop can also give a check. Bishop f7. But after rook f7, also we lost a piece for totally no reason. And the knight, we can give a check by playing knight f6. Sorry, but the pawn is protecting this square. So knight f6, gf6, we lose a knight. No, we don't lose a knight, because the rook is looking at the king, and the rook is pinning the pawn on g7. So after knight f6, gf6 is impossible. Red arrow, it is impossible. The rook is attacking the king. So after knight f6 check, we see there is no other defender of the square. The king can move to h8, and now we can maybe see the potential of the strongest piece. We probably should repeat the process. We play a move and then we repeat the process. So we again are looking for the strongest piece, and we see that the queen can give a check, which is queen h7. And the square is defended because we have the knight. So knight f6, king h8. The queen can't really move. Like the only possible square for him is g8, but it is already covered by the knight. So after knight f6, king h8, if I take the pawn on h7, the knight is protecting or maybe change the arrow. The knight is protecting the queen. The queen is taking off the two possible squares. The king can move, or maybe even the one. It is also protected by the knight. So what? This is checkmate in 2. Knight takes f6. Sorry, knight f6. We don't take anything. Knight f6. And queen h7 checkmate. And I believe we are going to end this video really soon, as we hit the number of 20. After this task, I really invite you to the next episode of how to solve chess puzzles better. We are going to make a step forward to maybe take to solve the puzzles on the level medium, and we are going also to consider all the essential elements of the position. We are going to maybe meet another different tactical motifs I haven't mentioned yet. But first, but first, before we say goodbye, maybe let's solve this task, yeah? Because we haven't reached 20 yet. Strongest piece. I see only one check when we don't blunder the queen, which is queen f6. And now we need to calculate, oh, this is maybe even the task which is really good to end the easy section. After queen f6, king e8 is the only move. And the free rook. The free rook is so tempting to take. It is so tempting. And a lot of you, and even myself, I can think why we shouldn't take the rook. Probably the position still should be winning. Not even probably. It is for sure winning. But I want to show the mating motif with using the second most active piece. Because the second most active because it stands to the fourth line where none other piece stands. So after queen f6, king e8, we can take a free rook, of course. For sure we can take the free rook. But we can also give a check to f7. Okay? I believe, to be honest, I believe that after queen f6 the task will end already. So maybe it is good to explain something a little bit. After queen f6, if the king moves to e8, I can give a check to f7. The king has to escape to f8 because now the queen isn't attacked by queen since the bishop covers it. So queen f6, queen f6, king e8, bishop f7, king f8, and now I can play bishop somewhere to g5, to g6 or h5. It doesn't really matter. The only possible square right now for the king would be g8, and using the diagonal battery, we can maybe create some name for the diagonal battery, because the battery is a phrase used for a mixed rook and a queen. So if you have maybe some good ideas how to name the battery of queen and the bishop, put please your proposition, your offer for the name for the mixed queen and bishop. But again, okay, queen f6, king e8, bishop f7, king f8, bishop h5 or bishop g6. It doesn't really matter. Maybe we can move the bishop to g6, king g8, and queen f7. It would be a checkmate. Yes, I was expecting that, because yeah, this task was quite stupid, because we can just give a check and the position is already over. Maybe I can turn on the analysis. I know, would you see it or not? Oh, maybe you would. After queen h1, which happens, queen f6, king e8, you can see even the bar exploded a little bit. So I can take the rook and mate in 5. You can see the bar? No, you can't see. So you just need to see the number 3, which is which is pretty. It is a little bit invisible, but you need to believe me. After queen h8, or maybe you can see the bar. The bar says it's mate in 4, but the variation I have told you, bishop f7, king f8, at bishop somewhere, bishop g6 to h5, it doesn't matter, just allows to give me a checkmate. Okay, guys, so thank you very much for being here. If something was too complicated, or if you didn't understand me that well, please write in the comment section what I can improve in the future. I was trying to explain it in the simplest way I could, but if I messed something up, I am really sorry. I am also learning this stuff. I am also learning how to say correctly some things, and how to teach in English. So if you found something that I could improve, don't hesitate, and please write in the comment section, on the private message to me. How do you see the how do you see the potential progress of this channel? And in the next episode, we are going to have a look at the a little bit harder exercises. We are going to continue our row. We ended on the task number 20, so the next task would be 21, and the level maybe I will show you, because as you could see there, No, not there. But as you could see there, you can see the numbers, right? You can see the numbers. We crossed 1100. But anyway, we are going to continue in the next episode. So thank you once again very much for joining me here. KosakChess was there. The tactical battle never ends. And we are going to fight. Bye bye.